everyone, and welcome to another winning video. It is I, your derpy girl and host for today, Win. And in this video, I'd like to welcome you all to the Genshin Impact version 3 award ceremony. With Fontaine right around the corner, we're in the midst of a very anticipatory period. People are gearing up for the nation of Hydro, stocking up materials and primogams, wrapping up old quests, and refreshing their lore knowledge. But can you believe that this time last year, we were completely in the dark and doing the exact same thing for SUMERU without a clue of what was to come? Before we close our doors on this chapter for good, let's take one last walk down memory lane and recall everything that made version 3 so iconic. In today's ceremony, we'll cover a wide range of topics, from the best characters to the worst enemies, the most surprising story developments and unexpected meta changes, and everything in between. Please keep in mind that everything expressed here is my own opinion, but you may fight me respectfully in the comments below. Also, do remember that there may be story spoilers, so please proceed at your own risk. And finally, if you are enjoying your time here, do remember to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let us commence the ceremony. Our first category is the story. With every new nation, Genshin's plot thickens. What started out as a simple mission to find her sibling has grown into a complex journey through Teyvat's history, the Abyss Order's schemes, and the ever-intriguing Celestia's involvement. As we learn more in every region, the twists get crazier and crazier. That's why the final scene of Archon Quest Act 5 wins most shocking story development. In this part of the Archon Quest, the stakes are already incredibly high when we fight Scaramouche reborn as a god. But then we meet Rukkhadevata and learn that in order to save SUMERU, we need to erase her entire existence from the world. And the game takes that seriously. Not only do no other characters remember her, but every reference to her, from dialogue to flavor text, and even books that not a lot of players read, is gone. Even doing certain quests after this cutscene changes what happens from if you do them before, altering the player experience irrevocably. An example of a quest is the Aranyaka or R&R storyline, which deserves the title of Most Surprising World Quest. Many know of the R&R for its ridiculous length, divided into the same 5 acts as the Archon Quest, but taking 2 or even 3 times longer to complete. And that's only the main storyline. There are over 75 R&R in total to be found across the entire map, and other additional objectives to be completed in the journal that you receive. But the most surprising part of this quest is the fact that it literally blocks you from exploring certain areas until you proceed with the story. I still remember this happening as if it were yesterday. Not ending stream until we light up the entire SUMERU map. Who thought that such an iconic line would come from such a simple objective? And speaking of iconic lines, does anyone else remember this unbelievable saying from Nahida's mouth?
Use the bathroom and flush your anxiety dookie away. People always say they feel a sense of relief after they take a duk-duk.
Yes, that is actually from the game. It is not a parody or AI. The screenwriters actually thought this up and the voice actor actually said it in the studio. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our well-deserved winner for most unbelievable line. No further notes. Let us now move to another critical part of the game, the gameplay, of course. SUMERU truly opened up a new chapter for Genshin. Not only did we get new characters, new story, and new exploration mechanics, but the long-fabled Dendro element was finally released. That's right, before 3.0, Dendro in the game was merely a concept, limited to a few slimes and the basic burning reaction. With the introduction of additional Dendro reactions, the elemental mastery stat also became much more relevant, and certain characters and even other elements, specifically Electro, became much more viable to play. Today, teams such as Hyperbloom and Aggravate are some of the strongest, and it's hard to imagine the meta without it, which is why Dendro is our biggest game changer. And yet, maybe that is why a Dendro team bears the title of Most Restrictive Team Comp. That's right, I'm talking about the Nilou Bloom team. With Nilou's release in 3.1, people were excited about her kit being tailored to the Bloom reaction, specifically her potential to instantly explode Bloom cores and deal quick giga damage. However, this excitement was dampened when it was revealed that for her kit to truly shine, she could be played on a team with only Hydro and Dendro, and even the presence of characters from other elements, even Anemo or Geo, would cause her exploding ability to flop. This was the first time Hoyoverse had imposed such a strict condition on a character, especially during a time when not a lot of Dendro characters had been released, and the number of Dendro healers and shielders was practically non-existent, leading many to skip her on her first banner. Thankfully, many more Dendro characters have been released since then, so maybe it's no surprise that our top contender for highest return on Resin is the Deepwood Memories and Gilded Dreams artifact domain. At a high level, Deepwood is generally the best set for Dendro reaction teams, with the 2-piece providing a Dendro damage bonus, and the 4-piece providing a team-wide Dendro resistance shred. So it's great for both DPS and support characters, to the point where it can be useful for even a non-Dendro character to hold on a Dendro team. And even if you don't get Deepwood pieces, you don't have to feel like your Resin is being wasted. Gilded Dreams pieces provide Elemental Mastery and an attack/EM buff, depending on the elements in your party, and is good for various characters released in previous patches. Speaking of characters in previous patches, would you be surprised if our winner for Best Banner did not involve any Dendro whatsoever? Genshin 3.4 Phase 2 consisted of a rerun of Liyue characters Hu Tao and Yelan, arguably two of the strongest characters in the game, even more so when played together. This also meant that the weapon banner featured their signature weapons, the Staff of Homa and the Aqua Simulacra, both of which are very strong and good choices for other characters as well. Some sources even claim that this rerun banner was the best-selling banner in all of Genshin history. Now, I'm sure we've all heard that pulling for weapons is usually a scam, but of all the banners to have pulled a 5-star weapon for, that would have been the one for me. Of all the content in the game though, I think there's one that not even all the 5-star weapons on a team could pull me through, and that is in Genshin 3.7, which I'm confident we can all agree had the worst Spiral Abyss of all time. From multiple enemies with various elemental shields on the same side, to having those god-forsaken consecrated beasts on the other, tossing you around and one-shotting you every other run, it felt like very few team comps were viable options for 36-starring the 3.7 Abyss, and made playing Floor 12 a very frustrating experience, even for hardcore players and moderate spenders. Thankfully, that's all behind us now, and with that, so is this category. On to the next one. The characters. The characters are arguably the most attractive part of the game for the majority of players. SUMERU introduced us to a whole new dynamic cast of friends and foes, and with so many different personalities, it's natural that this is also the largest category of today's video. To start us off with a bang, let's talk about the winner for most unique. From looks, to backstory, to playstyle, this character basically underwent an entire transformation from their first introduction in the game. That's right, it is the one and the only Wanderer. Now, while every character stands out in their own way, there are multiple aspects of Wanderer that are one of a kind. His release shocked everyone with his new outfit and the announcement of his vision being Anemo and not Electro as previously expected. His kit introduced the ability to navigate mid-air, which no character has had before. Not to mention, he was also able to alter the game's history, although temporarily, by wiping his own existence from the Irminsul. And finally, he is the only character in the game, aside from the Traveler, that you can give a name to. Will we ever get another Genshin character as out there as him? Who's to say, but I doubt it. On the other hand, I do hope that we never get a repeat of what happened with our most disappointing character. Now, don't get me wrong, this character has many positive traits, such as their fierce and fearless attitude, their loyalty to their friends, their bravery in the Archon quest, and their hot appearance. People highly anticipated their release, until we learned about their abysmal damage numbers, their lackluster kit, and their ability to even cancel their own burst with a jump. That's right, we're talking about the flame main, Dia. Now, I personally love Dia and would let her punch me out any day, and so the fact that Hoyoverse has refused to improve her is really saddening, especially since she had so much potential. Hopefully, her unique playstyle will be more relevant in the future meta. Until then, I'll just remember her for the other bright aspects of her character, such as her relationship with Dunyarzad, who is our most lovable NPC. This was a tough choice with other top contenders including Aranara Arabilika and Jet from the Desert, but I really think that Dunyarzad touched our hearts in a special way. For those who don't remember, Dunyarzad was a major part of the first half of the SUMERU Archon quest, and one of Lesser Lord Kusanali's devoted believers when everyone else had forgotten her. Despite being afflicted with Eleazar and forced to live a sheltered life, she was considerate of others, including us as the Traveler, and worked extremely hard to celebrate Nahida's birthday through the SUMERU festival. I know I'm not alone when I say that the scene of her watching Nilou's dance was an emotional tearjerker, and most importantly, she taught us, the game's players, an important lesson about living life with no regrets. In Hoyoverse's eyes though, this character seems to hold a special place, having had some sort of story presence in every version 3 release. Whether it's in the main quest or one of the special events, from overthrowing the academia to geeking out over genius invocation, he was present amongst it all. Give it up for Hoyoverse's favorite child, our reinstated General Mahamatra, Cyno! After the Archon quest, Cyno also appeared at the end of the Fabulous Fungus Frenzy in version 3.3 and an Alhaitham story quest in version 3.4, both times to arrest a criminal. Following that, in 3.5, he escorted Calais to the Windbloom Festival in Mondstadt, where he showed us the true extent of his punniness. He also participated in 3.6's Introduction Championship and 3.7's Genius Invocation event. And although he was absent from 3.8's Secret Summer Paradise event, he did get a special mention.
That's one way of shining new light on the problem.
Hey, Maimuna? Do you happen to know someone named Cyno?
No, never heard that name before.
Unfortunately for this other character who did play a major part in the summer event, it seems like they're Hoyoverse's most forgotten child. This character took 2.5 years after their first release to rerun, the longest rerun gap of all time. Not only that, but the timing of their return was far from ideal, being right before a new region and immediately after a brand new bunch of characters had been teased. You already know who it is. Please raise your hand and salute for our girl Eula. After so much anticipation, begging for her banner, and even players jokingly acting as if she hadn't been released at all, Eula's rerun alongside Cleese has been rumored to be one of the lowest selling Genshin banners ever. Whether it's because the physical element is lacking, or because of her clan's history in the game with slavery, or simply because players are just saving for other newer characters, let's hope in the future that she'll be treated better and that her next rerun comes sooner. On the other hand, perception of this character underwent a full 180 with the release of 3.0. Before SUMERU, this character had been ranked at the bottom of tier lists, deemed an easy skip because of their poor damage and awful self-sustain, especially when compared to other similar characters. With the introduction of Dendro, however, this person is now considered a top component for Hyperbloom teams. Please welcome Kuki Shinobu to the stage. Thanks to her elemental mastery scaling, Shinobu can be built for damage, while also providing decent healing for her team. And unlike other top-tier Electro characters like Fischl and Beidou, her skill is able to trigger blooms very consistently. Can you believe that this time last year, she wasn't being used by anyone at all? We love to see it. And speaking of things we love to see, it is a pleasure to announce Yao Yao as the recipient of our Finally Freed Kid Award. With her first appearance in any form being a social media post in October 2020, Yao Yao has been one of the longest anticipated characters by fans, with her actual in-game release occurring in January 2023, over 2 years later. I must say it was well worth the wait though, because she is adorable and one of the best Dendro supports out there, with her pet Yuigoi providing great healing and Dendro application. And while some people may think that Baiju is more deserving of this award, at least he actually appeared in the game during cutscenes. Yao Yao's only other cameo during her time in the dungeon was a brief glimpse at the end of Genshin's trailer for the 2022 Game Awards. As we continue on with our own awards, one more reminder to please consider liking and subscribing if you're enjoying the video. Thank you. Now you may notice that this next category is a little different, consists of 2 characters, and may even be a little controversial as we discuss the most romantic OTP. For the unaware, OTP stands for One True Pairing, and this pairing is a fan favorite, being one of the top 10 relationships on fanfiction site Archive of Our Own, better known as AO3. Of course, many ships exist within Genshin. But this SUMERU ship is best known for their polar opposite personalities and many subtle in-game canon references, some of which include matching idol animations, constellations, inverted colors and character designs, and even the fact that their character descriptions in Chinese fit together to form a very rigid type of Chinese poetry style. Everyone please give a round of applause for the Anthem and Kave shippers who stay winning. While this pairing isn't my personal favorite, even I cannot deny that they definitely have something going on despite their constant bickering, and the amount of effort put into the designs and personalities by Hoyoverse in order to match and complement each other is incredibly admirable. Now finally, we've saved the best character for last. This character tops the charts in every way, with their strong kit and flexibility in every team comp, to their personal development and attitude, and their overall design. Everyone, please welcome our Dendro Archon, Nahida! Also known by other names such as Radish Royalty, Cabbage Queen, and Duk Duk Deity, Nahida is the best off-field Dendro applicator, making her a #1 pick for Dendro-based teams in the meta. In the story, she is open-minded and kind, and is the only Archon who actually assists in our search for the Traveler's missing sibling. On top of that, her attack and idol animations are adorable, and her unique ability to read NPCs' minds with her skill, no one else can literally ever. With our 3 main award categories out of the way now, let us now start wrapping up for our final special section, the honorary mentions. For our first honorary mention, I think we can all agree that Genshin has hands down amazing music. Whether it's an upbeat electronic mix, a dramatic battle theme, or an orchestral arrangement to complement a cutscene, Hoyo Mix and Yupin Chen never miss. Yet amidst all of the wonderful soundtracks we've been blessed with, I hereby declare this one to be SUMERU's national anthem. Track number 4 of the Forest of Denanya and Vidya OST Disc 1, 4 Riddles for Wonders. You may have heard the song playing while casually traversing the forest, or watching Nahida's character demo, or even during that one Archon Quest cutscene where we bid goodbye to Rukkhadevata. With such a memorable yet calming melody, I truly feel that if I were to choose one single song to represent our emotional journey throughout SUMERU, it would be this one. But of course, we can't just bring up audio without discussing visuals. With every passing update, Genshin's trailers and demos only get better and better in terms of production quality. It's so hard to choose a favorite. But in terms of most iconic trailer, we have to give it up for the Genshin Impact anime concept trailer, unveiled during the 3.1 special program livestream. Not only did this announcement come out of nowhere, but the fact that Hoyoverse would be working together with renowned studio Ufotable, whose other works include the Fate series and Demon Slayer, is huge and really speaks to the ongoing success of the game. Although we haven't had any further updates about the long-term collaboration project yet, I'm sure that when it comes out, it'll be a hit amongst Genshin players and general anime fans everywhere. And speaking of fans and fan behavior, our recognition for the most ridiculous fandom debacle goes to Genshin vs. Sonic at the 2022 Game Awards. For those who don't remember, the Game Awards had a Player's Voice category, which consisted of an online voting portion in November. And of the finalists, both Sonic Frontiers and Genshin were neck and neck for first place in terms of votes. As a lover of both, it was exciting and heartwarming for me to see, but for others, not so much. Players on both sides started flexing and posting memes whenever one game got a lead, which led others to resort to accusations of botting votes and horrendous personal insults, to the point where TGA had to hide the voting results on their site. While nothing else has thankfully come of this conflict after the voting period, I suppose we can look back on it with some fondness as the weebs versus the furries, and marvel at the fact that yes, this was indeed a thing that happened. And finally, on the topic of things that happened that maybe shouldn't have, give it up for the most outrageous pull, literally, when I pulled my C6 Chi-Chi, ironically, during Baiju's banner which dropped in Genshin 3.6. And I still don't have a single D-Luke. Thank you, RNGesus, for nothing. And And that concludes the end of the Genshin Impact Version 3 award ceremony. Can you believe that a year ago, none of this existed, and we were all just waiting for SUMERU to come out with no idea of how awesome it would be? With Fontaine right around the corner, I'm getting that same sense of excitement and anticipation, and I cannot wait to see what else Hoyoverse graces us with. If you enjoyed your time here, please consider leaving a like and a subscribe. Otherwise, please feel free to share your feedback with the awards committee in the comments below. Did you strongly agree or disagree with any of the nominations? Was there a category that should have been included? Let us know. Special thanks to Miss Manager and Dava for helping with the making of this video. And of course, thank you for watching. Until next time, stay winning.